Have you ever felt frustrated because your dog doesn't come when you call him? Maybe you shout his name over and over, but there's no response. That's something very common. The good news is that there's an easy, quick, and effective way to change that situation. Today, I want to show you how to make your dog come every time you call him, no matter the situation or environment, with a foolproof method. Can you imagine your dog running toward you just by hearing his name? In this video, I'm going to teach you how to do it with just 3 very simple steps. You don't need to be an expert in dog training or have years of experience. With just a few changes in your approach, you can have a much stronger and more reliable relationship with your dog. And the best part is, you'll achieve it in no time. If you're ready to improve the way you interact with your furry friend and learn an incredibly simple trick, stay with me. I assure you that this method will change your life, and your dog's life too. Daily life with your dog should be a pleasure, but in many cases, the reality is a bit more difficult. In the past, when you called your dog, the response was the same: nothing. Or worse, it seemed like your dog wasn't listening to you at all. It's very frustrating to see your furry friend ignore you. And although it's not out of malice, it makes you feel disconnected from them. And while many people try to train their dogs with the same approach, it doesn't always work. Maybe you tried using treats or a different tone of voice, but the result didn't change. Sometimes you even feel like your dog is challenging you. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many dog owners face the same challenge. Additionally, there are other issues, like when you're at a park or on the street, and your dog gets distracted by other animals, people, or even smells. The situation worsens when the place is large and you can't control them. Not to mention the times when danger lurks and your dog doesn't come back when you call. It's a truly frustrating experience. But what many don't know is that there's an effective solution that requires only a little focus and discipline. If you could be sure that your dog would always come when called, your life as a dog owner would be much more peaceful. This problem doesn't have to be a constant in your life. There are proven methods that can make this change, and if you're willing to try, the future can be very different. One day, after a long search and some desperation to find a solution, you come across something that changes your perspective. During your research, you find someone talking about a very different approach to training dogs. This person doesn't speak of excessive rewards or punishments, but rather about creating a deeper connection with your pet. It's something you had never considered before. Suddenly, you realize that the problem isn't that your dog doesn't love you or doesn't understand what you're asking, but that you haven't found the right way to communicate with him. This is the moment when you decide to embark on a new adventure, changing the way you relate to your dog. You know that if you can get your dog to obey, your bond will strengthen, and you'll be able to have a much more harmonious relationship. So, with a new approach, you make the decision to try this method. You decide you won't let frustration stop you. It's the perfect moment to try something different and improve your relationship with your dog. This is your call to adventure. The challenge is no longer just about getting your dog to come when called, but how to build a deeper and more respectful connection with him. This is the first step toward a new way of seeing your pet's training. And the most amazing thing of all is that by doing this, you will not only change his behavior, but also transform your relationship. It's time to start this journey toward a better life with your dog. Your first step toward transformation begins when you find a clear and accessible guide. You decide to follow the advice of an animal behavior expert who has a proven technique for teaching dogs to come when called. This system is not only based on rewards, but also focuses on mutual respect, trust, and consistency. It is at this moment that, for the first time, you realize you have the help you needed. This expert teaches you that the key is not just repetition, but how to make your dog associate the act of coming when called with something positive. And the best part is that this method can be applied by any dog owner, even if you have no previous experience in dog training. It's simple and designed to be accessible. Additionally, you are provided with resources such as videos, articles, and examples to help you understand each step. This is the kind of help you had been looking for. It's not just basic instructions, but a holistic approach that takes into account your dog's emotional and psychological needs. Suddenly, you feel more confident and prepared to start the process of change. You know the help is there, and this is the right time to begin. You have a clear plan and are ready to take the next step in your journey toward a more obedient dog and a stronger relationship. Today, you make the definitive decision to leave behind traditional methods that haven't worked. No more shouting, frustration, or failed attempts. With this new technique, you're ready to take the step. You know it won't be easy, but you trust that the efforts will be worth it. You begin to apply the 3 steps that were recommended to you: repetition, positive reinforcement, and most importantly, consistency. At first, your dog doesn't respond as you expect, but you decide to be patient. You keep going because you know that every small advance is a step towards success. At this point, you no longer mind if the first attempts aren't perfect. You're committed to the process, and you finally understand that results will only come if you're consistent. This is your starting point. There's no turning back. As you move forward, you realize that this process not only affects your dog's behavior, but also your attitude. You begin to see things from a new perspective, understanding that change is a mutual effort between you and your pet. This is the adventure you decided to embark on, and each day brings you closer to a stronger and more effective relationship with your dog. When you face a challenge, it's common for things not to go perfectly from the start. This is exactly what happens in the first days of training. Your dog doesn't seem to fully understand what you expect from him. At first, he gets easily distracted, or sometimes even when he approaches, he walks away instantly. This discourages you a bit, but you know this is just a temporary obstacle. The key lies in repetition and staying calm. You remember that progress is made step by step. You keep applying the 3 steps of the method, even though progress is slower than expected. You realize that not everything is as simple as it seemed, but what keeps you going is the motivation of seeing small achievements. Sometimes, you have to deal with the stress of your dog not obeying you, especially when you call him during moments of high distraction, like when he's at the park or in front of other dogs. However, you refuse to give up. Training becomes a constant practice that tests your patience. Moreover, every day you practice, you notice your dog is starting to recognize that coming when called has rewards. The rewards become more meaningful to him. And instead of getting discouraged by momentary failures, you see how slowly results are being achieved. Perseverance becomes your main ally. And on this journey, you learn that true change requires time and dedication. As the days go by, you find your own approach to overcoming the challenges you face. The key for you is consistency, the right tone of voice, and moments of reward. You start applying small variations in the methods to get your dog to focus more on you, especially in places with more distractions. For example, instead of just calling him, you decide to use a firmer, more energetic tone to grab his attention. Every time he responds correctly, you reward him immediately, reinforcing the positive association. You also realize that the rewards need to be more valuable to him, like a favorite toy or a special treat. In this way, an expectation is created that makes your dog excited when he hears his name. Over time, the results start to become more visible. You begin to notice that your dog comes faster, even in high distraction situations. The way you approach training is changing because now you understand that it requires patience and the right dose of motivation. Additionally, your focus is no longer just on physical obedience, but also on emotional connection. You begin to read your dog's signals, adapting better to his body language. You know your dog is learning, and the training process becomes much smoother when you feel that both of you are working together rather than just following commands. This more understanding and flexible approach strengthens the bond between you and your dog, and both of you become more focused on the common goal. The path to success is never linear, and you face a critical moment that tests everything you've learned. One day, while practicing at the park, your dog gets more distracted than usual. A cat appears in the distance, And no matter how much you call him, he ignores you. In that moment, everything you've achieved up to that point seems to crumble. You feel frustrated, discouraged, and doubts start to arise in your mind. Can you really make your dog always obey you? This is the moment of greatest tension, when you question whether all the effort will truly be worth it. The crisis is not only external, but also internal. It's at this point when you feel the temptation to give up, to return to the old methods that you already knew didn't work. But you remember the purpose behind this training, the connection with your dog. You know that this is more than just obedience. It's an opportunity to grow as a dog owner and improve the relationship. It's a moment of reflection. You decide that instead of getting frustrated, you will take a breath and rethink your approach. You'll go back to the basics, but with the determination not to give up. You know that challenges are part of the process, and that the true test is not how hard it is, but how you face those obstacles. This crisis becomes an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment to change. After a couple of days of applying new strategies, little by little, your dog's responses improve. It's not instant, but progress begins to show again. Now you understand that crises are just stepping stones on the path to success. After going through the tests and the crisis, you finally reach your reward. The moment arrives when, after calling your dog several times amid a great distraction, he runs to you without hesitation. This is the treasure you've been searching for, the result of your patience, dedication, and change in approach. It's no longer just a personal victory, but you feel a deeper connection with your dog. It's not just that he's learned to come when called, but the bond between you both has been strengthened. Now, your dog responds with enthusiasm every time you call him, knowing he'll be rewarded with affection or a special treat. This change is tangible, and you realize that the effort has truly been worth it. What once seemed impossible is now a reality. What strikes you most is how this small change positively affects all aspects of your relationship with your dog. There's no more tension when you call him. Instead, there's mutual trust. You know that the treasure is not just obedience, but also the understanding and respect that have been built between you and your pet. This is the true gift of the entire process, and the most valuable one, a stronger relationship full of moments of joy and harmony. After all the hard work, persistence, and adjustments, you begin to see the transformation you've been striving for. The results are undeniable. Your dog now responds to your call, no matter the environment, with enthusiasm and focus. Whether you're in the park surrounded by distractions or at home in a quiet room, your dog runs to you when you call. This change is not just about obedience. It's about a deeper connection and understanding between you and your dog. The days of frustration, where you wondered if your dog would ever listen, are now behind you. Every time your dog comes to you on command, you feel a sense of accomplishment. It's not only because the behavior has changed, but because your dog now trusts you in a way he never did before. The bond you share has become more resilient, built on mutual respect and clear communication. What seemed like an impossible challenge has now turned into a source of pride. And it's not just about the convenience of a well-behaved dog. This result strengthens your relationship in ways that you never imagined. You find yourself enjoying the bond even more, with the peace of mind that your dog is now much more reliable. You no longer have to chase after him or worry about him running away. Instead, you trust that when you call, he will respond. This newfound trust and harmony fill your daily life with joy. The results aren't just in your dog's behavior. They're in the way you both relate to each other. This is the reward for all the hard work and dedication you've put in, and it is truly worth it. Now that you've reached a place where your dog reliably comes when called, you return to your daily life with a new sense of confidence. The skills and lessons you've learned from this journey have transformed not just your dog's behavior, but also your approach to training and your relationship with him. You no longer face the constant frustration of trying to get your dog's attention or worrying about him running off in public spaces. Every time you call him, there's an instant response, and with it comes a sense of relief and pride. This is a new chapter in your life as a dog owner. What once felt like a battle now feels like a partnership. As you return to your everyday routine, the change is palpable. You no longer stress over potential problems with obedience. Instead, you approach your dog with calm assurance. The techniques you've learned have become second nature, and you apply them in different situations, further solidifying your relationship. Your dog has come to see you as a trusted leader, and in turn, you've come to appreciate the joy of having a dog that listens and respects you. Now, when you're out and about, you can enjoy the time spent together without fear of miscommunication. This journey has not only improved your dog's behavior, but also provided you with a clearer understanding of what it takes to build a lasting, respectful relationship. Returning to your regular life after such a transformation feels almost surreal, as you're now in a space of mutual understanding that wasn't there before. It's no longer about what you've taught your dog. It's about what you've both learned from each other. The transformation is complete, and with it comes a new way of life for both you and your dog. The relationship you share is now based on trust, respect, and clear communication. Your dog listens to your commands without hesitation, and you've created a bond that goes beyond just obedience. It's a partnership built on love and mutual understanding. Life with your dog feels effortless now, and you enjoy every moment spent together. You've realized that the connection you've established doesn't just make life easier, it makes it more fulfilling. The days of frustration and confusion are a distant memory. Instead, you find joy in the simplicity of a well-behaved dog who responds when you need him most. Your walks are no longer stressful. You no longer have to worry about your dog darting off or ignoring you. Instead, you experience peace, knowing that you and your dog are a team. This new life doesn't just change the way you interact with your dog. It changes the way you approach life in general. Patience, consistency, and positive reinforcement have become tools you use in all aspects of your life. The lessons you've learned from training your dog can be applied to other challenges you face. You've grown as a person, becoming more patient, understanding, and determined. This new way of living is filled with joy, peace, and a deep sense of accomplishment. You and your dog have truly become a family, and this bond will last for years to come. Life with your dog is now more than just having a pet. It's about having a true companion who listens, loves, and respects you. As you reflect on everything you've learned throughout this journey, you realize that the true reward isn't just in your dog's behavior, but in the transformation you've both undergone. The frustrations of the past, the moments of doubt, and the obstacles you faced are now just part of the story. What truly matters is that you've succeeded in creating a deeper bond with your dog. The resolution comes when you understand that this journey was about more than just getting your dog to come when called. It was about fostering a relationship that's built on trust, patience, and mutual respect. You've resolved the conflict between frustration and understanding. You've figured out what works, and you've created a method that works for both you and your dog. But the most important takeaway is that this journey has reshaped your perspective on dog training. It's not about quick fixes or magic solutions. It's about creating lasting change through consistency and compassion. You've learned that every challenge has a solution if you're willing to put in the effort. And you've learned that with the right approach, you can achieve anything with your dog. This resolution also carries a deeper lesson. Life with a dog isn't always easy, but when you approach it with love and understanding, the results are well worth the effort. It's a reminder that anything worth having requires time and dedication, but the rewards are beyond measure. As you look back on this journey, you realize that your dog's behavior was just the surface level of the transformation. The real change has been within you, the way you approach challenges, the way you communicate, and the way you build connections. You've learned that the most important thing in any relationship is not just obedience, but understanding and respect. And in the end, this journey has left you with a stronger bond, a more peaceful home, and a deeper love for your dog than ever before.